Hey guys, I'm at the drive-in. Our time here at the drive-in is becoming limited. It is in the later parts of September. October, I believe, is the month that's their goal, is their cutoff point is to make it to October. They usually have Halloween, like trick-or-treating out here at, I think they call it trunk-or-treating at the drive-in, and it's cute. I've never attended it. The 10 to 12 years that I've been coming consistently to this drive-in, I've never attended trunk-or-treating, but they've had it every single year, and I think it's a really cute idea. But that's my long way of saying that our time here at the drive-in is coming to an end. But so this is one of those times that I'm going to cherish very much because I'm here to watch another movie. Now, to be honest with you, I have no desire to see any of these movies. Well, maybe the second one a little bit. I am seeing Alone. I don't know anything about this. I've never heard anything about it. I didn't even read any articles about it. I know the title, and that's about it. I think I saw the poster once. So there you go. I know it's a horror movie, and I suspect that it's one of those like low-budget, straight-to-video, or put it on the drive-in to squeeze a couple more coins out of it. But that's what I'm watching tonight. Is the first movie's Alone. Now the second movie is going to be Nightmare on Elm Street, the original Nightmare on Elm Street. And to be honest with you, I remember watching this. I remember renting it because it had a lot of buzz on it when it first came out. And I've never been a horror flick kind of guy. And I've never been kind of like that practical effect hack slash horror buff that there's a lot of people out there that love those movies. I'm not one of those. I find those movies kind of cheap and kind of like they're easy to make. So you see a lot of people try their hand at that, but I'm not a big fan. So when Nightmare on Elm Street came out, I kind of scoffed at it, and I even watched it, and I scoffed all the way through it. I didn't give it a chance. I know I didn't give it a chance. And now that people kind of list it as one of like a classic movie, people just think of this movie very nostalgically. And I have been trying to work at kind of not being so snobby about my movies that I want to give this an earnest try. I want to give this an earnest chance and look at it as a movie, as something that I might be interested in. So I'm kind of excited to watch this movie just to see if I can change my mind about it. So those are the two movies, Alone and Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm going to be right back in just a few seconds to let you know what I think about Alone. All right, see you, bye. Hey guys, I just got done watching the movie. I want to go ahead and tackle this in two different ways. I want to talk about the plot and the acting, and then we'll go ahead and go on to the directing. First off, let's go ahead and set up the story. We have this lone woman who is obviously very distraught over the death of her husband, and then throughout the whole movie, we find out the reason why she is no longer with her husband is because he committed suicide. And it was a very heavy subject. And they handle it really very vaguely, but very well. So she, in the very beginning, is loading up a U-Haul truck, and she is obviously going somewhere. Probably just to change the scenery and tried to change her mood, get away from the situation that she was in. Having the familiar surroundings more than likely were reminding her of him. So that's the premise. That's the beginning of our movie, is that she is on this long road trip by herself. And through in the very beginning, we get to see the antagonist. We meet the antagonist, and he is this kind of like very live actiony, kind of like a Ned Flanders character, complete with a bushy mustache. And he even has kind of a mild-mannered way about him, but also we also detect that creepiness of him, and he keeps on reappearing to her throughout the very beginning of the story, where he almost cuts her off and causes her to wreck into a semi, or at the rest area where he very creepily asks her for a ride. And so we automatically see these red flags. And then, again, in the very beginning of this movie, he eventually shows his true colors and like kidnaps her and puts her in his basement. Now, she escapes. Again, here's the thing about this movie was it's very unpredictable. In every single situation, I expected to see this movie continue in different, in like the typical tropey kind of way. But instead of being a movie that's primarily in that cellar, she actually escapes in the next few minutes. So what it basically turns into is the world's deadliest game, where he's hunting her for the rest of the movie. And it could have been a complete bore and a complete slog, but they kept on introducing plot elements that made it very gripping and very interesting. As far as the acting goes, I believed every single one of these characters. To the damsel in distress, the woman who is trying to fend herself against this guy, this menacing guy. And I loved the portrayal of that guy. I loved how he took it, like I said, he portrayed himself as like an everyman, and he had a very mild manner about him until he wasn't, until he was punching her in the face. And then you felt that threat, that contrast of that, of those two characters was brilliant. And I really, really enjoyed that. I'm going to go ahead and grade this movie and move on. Man, I was not expecting this movie to be as good as it was, but it was brilliant. And it was shot well. There were scenes where it lingered onto the forest. There were there was no music. Oh no, there was music. There were long shots where it could have been boring, but it established an emotion of isolation and suspense. And it was brilliantly directed. I really liked it. I liked the very end of it. The last shot of the whole movie made it for me completely. It was a great movie. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 100%. I enjoyed it completely. I bought it completely. I felt the threat of that Ned Flanders character, and I loved her portrayal and how she fought back against that. I would recommend seeing this movie completely. Please do yourself a favor. If you like horror and you don't mind a slow burn, totally check this movie out. The next movie I'm going to go ahead and watch is going to be Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm going to go ahead and move on to that right now because it is starting. I'll talk to you guys in just a few seconds. All right, see you later. Hey guys, I just got done watching Nightmare on Elm Street. Here's a movie that a lot of people, they look at this very nostalgically. This is a movie that's it came out like the 80s, I believe. And it didn't age all that well. It is at least, 30, 40 years old. And it's basically about, it opens up, we meet these teenagers. They're having horrific dreams about the same, nightmare image, this guy with razor blades for fingers. We quickly put a name to it, and we find out his name is Freddy Krueger. And about halfway through the film, we actually find out the reason why he's trying to exact revenge on these children. And it's basically because these parents of these children decided to exact kind of like a vigilante justice on this guy who was not even convicted of the murders that he committed on children. So that's the premise of the movie, and basically we have these teenagers are helpless to be able to defend themselves against this, because he can control their nightmares. Now here's the here's the thing. This movie did not work all that well. Between either the clunky dialogue that we were entreated to, or the really bad premises that we were given, it was just poorly written. It was poorly executed. The acting in it, other than say like Johnny Depp, I kind of believed as a character, but other than that, Johnny, the main character, the girl over there, she was. I forgot how attractive of a young lady she is, but her line deliveries were terrible. And I don't know whether it was her acting and her delivery of the lines or just the clunkiness of the lines themselves. But both of them, I'm guessing, contributed to the fact that those characters were not believable at all. Friday the 13th was very two-dimensional in its tone, its direction, its acting, and its story. It was very flat. It is what it is. It didn't make me angry, but at the same time, it didn't inspire me to say that it was a good movie. Therefore, I'm just going to head and move on. It wasn't a great... I'm going to give it a 25. It was 25% because it had some good imagery, some horror imagery in there. But for the most part, it was a silly, over-the-top, uninspired horror schlock. So, okay, so, in other words, guys, if you want to take anything away from this, I would encourage you to watch Alone. Please watch Alone. It was a great film, well crafted, and like I said, every shot had its purpose. It conveyed real emotion. It conveyed real gripping suspense, and all the characters I believed. All the acting was really complimented the story. As far as Friday the 13th went, I think I described Friday the 13th very succinctly when I said that it's very two-dimensional. The only thing it did have to offer was the horror imagery in it. Other than that, the acting was bad. The story was bad. Even the dialogue was very clunky. And it was just not a good movie. I would not recommend watching that movie at all. There's a lot of people that would disagree with me, but it's not good. All right, guys, so that's it. That's my movie reviews. Other than that, I want to wish everybody peace. Montanay. I'll talk to you guys later, and goodbye.